Hello Pisces, Pisces Rising, and Pisces Moon people. This is your weekly astrological and card forecast for the week starting January 30th, 2017. And when I say Moon and Rising, I mean y'all should be checking your Moon and Rising signs. It can add an extra dimension to a general horoscope, and I know it's hard to understand, like, well, how could this apply to every single one? Well, check your Rising and your Moon sign. We'll be getting closer. And if you want to get a personal session, something unique to your own situation, again, you can always go to my website, integrativemysticism.com, and schedule a session. So, what is going on with your astrology this week, Pisces? Well, we do have Mercury coming out of its shadow and reforming the same T-square it did back in December of 2016. It's going to be forming a T-square from your 11th house to your earned income sector with Uranus, and to your 8th house of shared resources with Jupiter. And everyone in their own way, in their own unique spaces, are getting put on the spot. Everyone's getting put on the spot and given complete control, complete executive control this week, starting around evening Monday, going all the way up until about evening Thursday. And this has to do with, in your case, people actually giving you control over spending, over the direction of business, as it relates to friends that you may be collaborating with. Now, this could be a joint partnership, where we might have a business partnership, or a small business that we're running with a friend, or a small group of friends. This could have to do with money that we're sharing with, say, a roommate situation, or anything where we actually have maybe even finances or profits being shared between a group of people. You are being given control. What you say goes. So this is a wonderful opportunity for a lot of you to maybe redesign things in a way that's, more fair for everybody. If you feel like it hasn't been fair, or you feel like maybe we need to just take stock of this because we're making more money than we thought we did before, or we thought we were going to, it's time to kind of readdress how this team is going to get paid. Now, the thing is, though, be careful. What you say goes, which means a lot of people aren't necessarily going to be vetoing or throwing an input, or, or kind of checking you, which means that even your mistakes are going to be allowed. So we don't want to crumble under that pressure, but we don't want to say no to it either. For your spiritual advice this week, we do have the card of the Solitary. And the Solitary talks about a need to pay attention to where it's okay, again, to be a bit more original, but also at the same time start paying attention to where other people are trying to kind of get you to do things in their image, in their design. And even if we're given control, sometimes people have a way of giving us control, but also at the same time wanting us to do it their way and call it their, your decision. And with the Solitary card, it's going to be a time where some of you may even decide maybe it's time to start going it alone. With certain group efforts, certain work efforts, maybe stepping aside from certain team efforts. The Solitary card can also talk about needing to get away from too many excess external opinions when it comes to making bigger decisions when it comes to your life. There's a lot of information going on back and forth, and sometimes people join teams, join groups, and join schools of thoughts, or leave teams, leave groups of thoughts based on the collective and the association, as opposed to what they really think and know. And that's never a safe place to be in that animal herd mentality. So this week, you got to rise above it with the Solitary and be okay being an independent thinker. For your Earth sector, when it comes to your work and finances, we do have the Three of Pentacles reversed. And again, we have issues going on with team playing and teamwork at the workplace. The Three of Pentacles reversed is saying we might be noticing that there's some power grabs going on, or maybe a teammate or maybe a business partner or a coworker is kind of acting way too much out of their own self-interest, and it's not necessarily going to reflect well or do well for the rest of the team. And there may be some corrective action that needs to be taken so it doesn't become costly. For those of you looking for new work, the Three of Pentacles reversed is indicating here, be careful. We may find ourselves in situations where if you want to be in a more competitive environment, that's one thing, but be careful that that competitive doesn't turn into completely ruthless and cutthroat. Because the Three of Pentacles reversed can indicate, again, issues where finding a trustworthy network or trustworthy companions is going to be hard. People might not necessarily be thinking so much about all for one and one for all. They're thinking more about looking out for number one. Financially, this can indicate a need, for you to be able to fight for what you really earn and what you really deserve. When clients, coworkers, and customers decide that they are going to fight for what they don't want to share or pay. For your communications with air, when it comes to your friends, your relatives, and the others in your life, we do have the Knight of Pentacles upright. You are not without allies. The Knight of Pentacles is showing up here. And this would actually be a good team player. Typically, the Knight of Pentacles does show up as an Earth sign, a Virgo, Taurus, or a Capricorn, and they do have a keen sense of fairness and fair play. So if you do need backup here, or maybe you're just looking to replace somebody who, again, has become a bit too inwardly focused and have gone from self-care to self-centered, this is a good replacement for him or her. And they will be showing up in your life. And this could actually even be a friend of yours that you find out is actually more qualified for the job of being with you on whatever this situation is than the person you had in the first place. The Knight of Pentacles is kind of interesting too, because the Knight of Pentacles does have a very strong sense of duty and diligence. So if you've been having a hard time even dealing with slackers in your space, we've got one person showing up who could do the work of 3 of what you already have. For your challenge this week with fire, we do have the Empress card upright. Okay, the Empress is not a bad challenge, it is not a hard challenge, but it is talking about how do we maintain something that is nurturing and profitable, because finances seem to be coming up a lot in this reading for you. I'm not surprised. We've got Mars going into your earned income sector, so we're going to be doing really well, but we have to, sometimes the more money we got, the more problems we see, right? And the Empress card upright is kind of saying, pay attention to where we can't lose the spirit with the success. Okay, it still needs to stay nurturing, it still needs to stay loving, it still needs to, with this workforce or this family, still needs to operate like a family. Because sometimes, that kind of good fortune, that kind of pride, that kind of greed, that kind of hubris can even hurt a family a little bit in the way family members treat each other. And the Empress card upright is saying your only challenge is making sure that everything stays sweet, everything stays kind, everyone stays good to each other. The Empress, upright can also indicate a need to pay attention to where things need to be grounded so that they stand the test of time. Be careful of everything coming and going a little bit too quickly or moving too rapidly. Even if it looks like rapid progress, sometimes things can rush to, a forced fruition before their time. For your emotions with water and your romantic life with the King of Swords upright. This is actually a really cool card to get for love and romance because it's sort of almost like a misnomer in a sense. We look at the King of Swords, it's like, boo. But with the King of Swords, we tend to see a person who you will actually gel with really well, single Pisces people, if you're looking. If you're putting yourself out there, you will find somebody who absolutely does want to know you for your mind, for your perspective, for your philosophies. In fact, the King of Swords, and most people in the Swords family, tend to, have their erogenous zone be their brain. And, well, that's usually the case for a lot of people. But, when we look at the King of Swords, this person is focusing more on that, more on the intelligence factor. And this absolutely is somebody that I think that you're even going to be attracted to for their smarts. And what I like about the King of Swords is that, in a lot of ways, they are a little bit introverted. So whenever they do decide to make the effort, it is sincere. For those of you who are currently coupled, the King of Swords upright can indicate that your partner is all of a sudden going to be getting a lot more serious and dedicated towards the relationship. And if they already seem pretty dedicated and serious, you haven't seen anything yet, usually the King of Swords wants to jump into a situation where we need to start making some immediate improvements, and not in a big, bad, authoritarian kind of way. But with the King of Swords, it's a little bit more like, well, how do we change our perspective on these things? How do we change the way we relate to each other? I want to work on our communication a little bit, or maybe we need to work on our communication with one of our kids. There's something going on where we need to kind of focus on getting away from being a little bit too reserved. Maybe there's something about this relationship that would do really well if we had not only better communication with each other, but more communication with others. How do we open up the family to be more inclusive, to have more meetings of the minds? So that is your forecast, Pisces. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate it. And of course, if you'd like to get a session, you can always follow the links below, or go to integrativemysticism.com.